Hello and welcome back to Retfurb. So on today's video we're going to do something that's slightly different. Now I'm going to do a review and how to fit this steerer tube extension. So this is a RideRace branded steerer tube extension. You can see I'm just showing it now. This is purchased off AliExpress. It wasn't very much, it was less than £10. So you can see there's a little mark on it. So this is a 35mm extension. So it's basically, if your steerer tube's not long enough, if you put a different fork on there, for instance, it's been used previously and cut, this will just add that extra 35mm on top of it. So it just means that, you know, on some head tubes, the steerer that you might have on a specific fork might not be long enough, so this will just add that extra bit. So you can see I'm just going over it, just taking it apart. You can see there's two sort of conical shaped bits at the bottom and the top, and then the three silver parts which sort of push out as you do it up. So these are the forks that I'm going to fit them on, which is an old set of 1998 Rockshox SID Generation 1s, and the bike that they're going on, the steerer tube that's on these forks at the moment is not big enough. Now ordinarily, most of the time I press the steerer tube out and put a new steerer tube in, but I thought I'll give this a go and just see if this is a better option. So you can see there that it sits down quite a way into the tube, and you know, should give quite a good grip hopefully when it's done up. So now I'm just doing up the bolt at the top. It's just an Allen key bolt. And what I'm finding as I'm doing it, I can feel there's a slight ridge, like it's not sort of sitting perfectly in the center. So you'll see now I'm just messing around with it, just sort of, I mean, when I say a ridge, it's not a lot, but what I thought would be best option to do is to get a stem and just sit that on top of it, just to hold it in place whilst I do it up. So I've actually loosened it back off here and put the stem on it, and then I could just do that bolt up with the stem in place. So it should hold it a lot more, you know, in the middle. It is slightly off still when I take the stem off. I can still feel a slight ridge, but it doesn't impede it. You can take the stem out easily without any sort of issues. It can come on and off. It doesn't sort of catch or anything like that. So as you can see, I'm just doing that up. It seems to be holding really well, this part. Seems to be gripping really well. So I'm hoping that, you know, this is a really good option instead of having to replace the steerer tube. You can get other sizes. I can't remember off the top of my head what the other size is, but like I say, this is a 35mm extension. I think it was something like 65mm off the top of my head. I can't remember exactly, but I'll show an image at the end which just shows the item on AliExpress. So now I'm just going to show the procedure of swapping the bits over and getting it on the bike, and then we show it all bolted up. So I had a set of 1999 Rockshox SIDs that I had on the bike originally, which the bike's a 98 model, and I always wanted to get the 98 model Rockshox SIDs to go on there to match the model year of the bike. Now, not everything on the bike's specific to that year. You know, you see the headset now, that's a more modern one, but majority of it is around that period. So I'm just slotting it in place exactly as I would with a normal set of forks, you know, with no steerer extension, and you can see just how much is added on top. Obviously without that you wouldn't get enough grip for the stem to go onto it. So I'm just spacing it out a little bit, so when I put the stem on it gives just the right amount. So when I put the top cap in place, it screws that down and it doesn't sort of get in the way, it's not too high. So with the extension, it has a thread going through the middle of the bolt already, so you can connect these top caps for the headset nice and easily. And now just clamping the stem on there. So with this, the stem is slightly on the original steerer as well, which I would recommend, to be honest. You want a little bit on both. Now there'd probably be no issues, to be honest, but I just thought it'd be best to have a little bit on both. Then you've got the clamp going on the original steerer and on the new extension piece. So you can see here I'm just carrying on, fitting it back up, just putting the V-brakes on, putting the wheel back on, just connecting the brakes back up. And just centering the stem and handlebars, and then I can bolt them in place. So now I'm just coming to finishing putting it all back together. So it was this point of the video which I explained that I had ridden it a couple of times and it was all okay. However, I've ridden it since and I've had some issues with it. So I've done a little video just showing what the issues were. And yeah, it just explains a little bit further. I just rigged up the GoPro quickly just to show exactly what was happening and the reasons why I've revised this video and my opinions of changing it. So let's get into that quickly now. So since doing the last video, I'm now actually changing my mind on this steerer tube extension. I'm just going to show you. I took it for a ride a few days ago and the headset seemed like it was a bit loose. I don't know if you can really see it on there. I have sort of messed around with it a little bit since. But yeah, it seemed a bit loose. So I took the stem off and had a look and I could see that it had moved. So I'll just show you an example quickly. I've just rigged up the GoPro just to show this. And I'll do it back up. There's no actual details on the steerer tube extension saying anything about torque settings or anything like that, but as you can see it is tight, and if I did it up any tighter I would end up probably ripping the threads out, which I don't want to do. So I'll just put it back down again and just do it up, and potentially also rounding the top of the Allen key off and then not being able to get it out ever again. So that's pretty tight. As soon as you do the cap up, when I was doing this cap up yesterday, it was pulling the thing back out. I'll see if it's done it now. Probably hasn't done it this time. Yeah, so it's moved slightly. It didn't do it as much yesterday. It moved a hell of a lot more when I did the cap up, but it's moved probably about 1 millimetre. Now, that's just doing the cap up. Obviously, when you're banging around and you're trying to, you know, you're going down anything which is sort of rough terrain or anything, which admittedly this bike, I won't be using it extreme. So this is the link to the item that I actually purchased off AliExpress. So just so you can see exactly which one it was. Now obviously this might not be the case for everyone that gets it. This is just an issue that I've had and I just wanted to point that out. Obviously I did the top cap up a lot tighter than what I normally would just to show it moving. You know, even if I had tightened it up on a normal fork, you wouldn't expect anything like that to happen. So obviously for it to pull it out that easy, I can't really be using it and I won't use it on the bike. So unfortunately I'm going to have to take it off and I'll have to take these forks back off, which is a bit annoying really, because I purposely did these forks for this bike and now the steerer tube's not long enough. So it's my fault. I should have learnt a lesson really. I should have just changed the tube like I do on most of the other forks. But I do have another set of SIDs that I'm going to use, which are Mark 1 as well. So I'll refurb them and then I'll get them fitted on here. But with regards to the actual extension itself, I won't be using it, and obviously because of the issues I wouldn't recommend it. Thanks for taking the time to watch the video, it's really appreciated. Please like and subscribe and we'll see you in the next one.